but their passion actually is in event management. People qualify in various science areas, and yet you find that they are making wedding cakes. But you'll never find a theater performer who gets so fed up with his profession and he wants to be a medical doctor. And that shows you the versatility of this sector. That is why you also find a lot of geologists and petroleum engineers who are hotel owners. Because that sector is one that offers opportunities to one and all. Your Excellencies, allow me to quickly run through the facts that today Nigeria has in place a tourism development master plan. And it is critical for any country to develop a tourism development master plan. Working with the UNDP, with the United Nations World Tourism Organization, Nigeria today has a very, very progressive looking tourism development master plan. And what that means is that we are on the threshold of developing this sector. And in the last several months, we have, with the limited resources available to us, been able to set up a working secretariat for the takeoff of Nigeria's Tourism Development Master Plan. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to seize the opportunity of this ministerial platform to engage ministries, departments, and agencies of government that there is a need for us to find a symbiotic working relationship in order to help us to focus attention on some new areas of development. As you know, the challenge that faces Nigeria today is one of revitalizing the passion and nationalistic patriotism so that we see Nigeria through the same eyes, we find the same passion, the same love of one another. And so through our national orientation initiative, we have embarked on several media outreach to ensure that we communicate the values of good governance, of democracy, of ensuring that transformation begins with the individual. Oftentimes we believe that transformation is the responsibility of Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. But we have incessantly tried to say that transformation begins with each individual. In the love that we show to each and every one of us as Nigerians, in the transparency with which we approach our different and daily responsibilities, in the sincerity of purpose, in the integrity at work, in the value for money, for goods and services that we give, in the cleanliness of our environment. That is where transformation begins. And on each and every desk of each and every one of us here, there is a daily demand for you to do the right thing. And that is the current campaign of the National Orientation Agency. And so our campaign is that if you do the right thing, you will transform Nigeria. May I crave the indulgence of the Minister of Information to take us through that slogan. Do the right thing, transform Nigeria. So when I say do the right thing, I want you to respond, transform Nigeria, with your flags up. Do the right thing. Transform Nigeria. Do the right thing. Transform Nigeria. Transform Nigeria. Do the right thing. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, we also believe that the second phase of the initiative initiative of the National Orientation Agency will be that of political and voter education, because increasingly, the integrity of our electoral process has become a letter of recommendation to the government and people of Nigeria. And therefore, our National Orientation Agency has embarked on extensive campaign right across all the states of Nigeria in order to sustain that campaign, and it has paid off. Today, in our schools, in our various communities, there is a clarion call for peace, security, awareness, and the initiative to ensure that we eradicate terrorism, as well as campaign against filth and environmental degradation. And when we're talking about environmental degradation, we're also including oil spillage and the attendant challenges. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in terms of our cultural diplomacy, because on behalf of Nigeria, the ministry also embarks on cultural diplomacy. And cultural diplomacy through the Center for Black and African Arts and Civilization has created a very strong link and synergy with blacks in the diaspora. Of course, we cannot forget the fact that Nigeria is the biggest black nation on the face of the earth. That is just an awesome proposition. That because we are the biggest black nation on the face of the earth, it means that if we fail in whatever we do as members of this great country, we have let down the entire black world. That responsibility, I am sure, has never been quite appreciated. But the brothers in the diaspora have often communicated to us that Nigeria is currently shirking its responsibility to the black diaspora. And so, through CIBA, which is the current custodian of all the assets of black